industrialization and job creation in this country. How can we move this economy for him as somebody who is in the private sector? Then after that, we had somebody who is based in Sweden to show us whatever you are doing, you need the market. What are the issues of market? So today we concentrated more on the theme, and which is to do with industrialization, job creation, a shared responsibility. So this afternoon, I left when we were having our senior Kajabagu Karsoke taking us through the ideology. You know how he can tease you. He says you are just biological mass. And and so today there was nothing political that was discussed.
Okay. Thank you very much for that to bring us to speed on what is going on in Chankwanzi. But is the issue of parliamentary democracy, if it is proposed, you as a Secretary General of the party, is that an issue that you are likely to support?
As a Secretary General, my work is to record the agreements or the resolutions that have been made by the people in the different should I call them platforms or decision-making platforms in the party. My work is not to, what should I say, to push something onto people.
I'm not even talking about pushing. I'm asking about your take on the issue of changing the mode of electing a president from adult suffrage to indirect, in other words, having members of parliament, people with the biggest majority of members of parliament selecting or electing a president. Is that what you would support?
For me, as a Secretary General of NRM, and who knows the history of NRM, and who is still serving with the historicals of NRM, their intention of, the main intention why they decided to go to have the protracted struggle to liberate this country. Part of it was to make Ugandans have the opportunity to freely elect their own leaders, to freely choose their leaders in a transparent manner. So if we do that, then that means we will be denying Ugandans, the majority Ugandans, the responsibility to choose who to lead them in the country. So in my own view, I would really think, as you know, Uganda in Eastern Central Africa is one country that is where politically people are alert. But so removing this responsibility from them, yet NRM went the bush to tell them, please have this right, practice it every after 5 years, assuming Parliament does not change the duration of the term. You have this responsibility, and then you remove it and bring it to the few. That will be now defeating NRM. Defeating the real agenda of NRM. Why
Madam Secretary General, you converged at Chobe, the Central Executive Committee of the party.
Yes.
Passed a resolution nominating President Museveni to run for 2021. In fact, it is your selectorate that matters, not the electorate.
No.
For lack of a better word, it's the selectorate of a few of the NRM party honchos that will determine who is going to run, and in most cases, it is President Museveni to run again and again.
When politicians meet, they are free to make political decisions. But when it comes to NRM, yes, Central Executive Committee urged President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni to still offer himself as a candidate. But that does not rule out, and that does not stop other candidates from expressing interest.
Even when he spoke with a lot of clarity against running again for the presidency.
But politicians are free too. Politicians are free too. And remember, I'm the one who has the responsibility to manage the process of getting a flag bearer or a candidate. So when politicians express themselves, it is my responsibility to take a note. They urged him to contest.
Even when
but
the
that does not
even
stop
when your
others
leader
from
has
contesting.
told you, I won't have the capacity, the energy, or even the interest to run for the presidency at a certain level. You are, you are inclined to believe him because he knows the job, he knows how difficult it is, and he tells you at 75, I don't want. Why wouldn't you, tell him, no what, make good of your promise?
Are you a football fan? Do you know a player called Ronaldo, who used to play in, I think he one time played in Manchester United.
Manchester,
and just last
Real
week
Madrid
he
and
was
Juventus.
playing in the football team called what? Juventus. And he scored how many goals? He scored, is it 2 or 3 goals?
I think you have it very wrong because Ronaldo has not said that I do not see myself fit enough to play for Juventus. President Museveni has said that he does not see himself go beyond 75 because he thinks, because he knows the job. And we're inclined to believe him because he's been there. So when he says, I can't do this beyond this level, I'm inclined to believe him because he knows the gravity of the job. You should be supporting him and say, you know what? Well, make good of your promise.
But that does not give me the powers to stop those who feel he should offer himself as a candidate, to stop them from that. There is democracy in the country. There is also democracy in NRM. If one says, I want Kamara too, and Kamara says, I don't, and now gives reasons why should I stop them? Because
you have denied people with dissenting voices in the party even to come to Chankwanzi. People like Barnabas Tinka Simile.
Who denied him from coming to Chankwanzi?
People like Mbwati Kamwa.
Who denied him from coming to Chankwanzi?
Why are they not with you?
I don't know why they are not there. Because let me give an example. I had watched news and they had said that those who didn't vote for the lifting of age limit will not be allowed in Chankwanzi. I'm just coming from Chankwanzi. There was Honorable Connie Galiwango Nakayenze, the woman MP of Mbale district, voted no on both the second reading and third reading. There is Honorable Kaberuka of Kinkizi East. He's in Chankwanzi. There is the woman MP of Padere district is in Chankwanzi. The woman MP of Jinja district who absconded is in Chankwanzi. Honorable the MP of Bulisa County, Honorable Muchitare, who absconded, he's in Chankwanzi. So what are you talking about? Let them go to Chankwanzi. I'm coming from Chankwanzi and I'm telling you they were there.
Yeah, but there are some members of parliament who have just the names I've talked about. They are not there, and their voices they have spoken with a lot of clarity and criticizing you, and you seem not to, as a party, have welcomed them, even though dissenting voice would be good for democracy.
Mr. Kamara, in NRM, we have a constitution. And in the constitution, we have what they call a code of conduct. And there is prohibited conduct. That is Schedule 6. Then in Schedule 7, you have the when you go,
conduct in NRM?
I'm explaining. When you go against the party decision, you are supposed to be expelled. But to be expelled, there is a process that you must go through. As a Secretary General, nobody has ever petitioned the disciplinary committee over a misconduct of any member, whether in parliament or outside parliament. So if anybody goes against the decision of the party, in the position of the party in parliament, it's the responsibility of the government chief whip or any member to petition the Secretary General. Like when I was the government chief whip, when we took a vote on the Petroleum Act, I remember very well, some of our colleagues did not vote with us. I got a pen and petitioned the Secretary General, then Right Honorable Mama Mbabas, and said, this is the list. And they were subjected to the disciplinary committee proceedings, and then a report was brought by the Secretary General to SEC. I was a member of SEC then, and then SEC expelled them, and we went to court. There is a process. So as Secretary General, no member of the NRM Parliamentary Caucus has appeared before the disciplinary committee. And that is my work as Secretary General, to make sure the procedures are followed. So as far as I'm concerned, as Secretary General, I have not received any petition to that effect.
Okay, let me also maybe, because some of your members have actually made it worse in trying to tell us what is happening in your party, Madam Secretary General. Member of Parliament for Kasambia, the same gentleman, Mbwakate Kamwa, has offered himself not to defend his seat in Kasambia because he thinks the NRM party, which has the majority now, is fixated on regime survival and nothing much can be achieved. He'll just be wasting his time if he says, I can represent the people of Kasambia again, and yet nothing really moves. So if one of your own can come up and speak with such clarity and criticize you at that level, then you should actually shed a light in your party and say something is wrong, or maybe try to solve it.
He's talking of the district of Mubende, where he comes from. Honorable Mwatekamwa is one person. Since he was voted, we could even just count the times he has gone back even to consult his voters on issues that affect them before he comes to Parliament to deliberate. So when he says he's not going to defend his seat again, can we analyze the submissions he has made on the floor of Parliament? How relevant they are to the people he represents? How many consultations he has made? These days, you media has, you people in the media, and even the social media, even radios, all types of media, you have simplified the accountability part on the side of us leadership, on the side of us leaders. Whatever we do, finds a way of getting to the media. So the media has exposed him. Now he decides to say, hands up, and he finds NRM as an excuse. What proposal has he brought that NRM has not implemented? What proposal has he brought that NRM has not implemented?
He voted against the constitutional amendment, and that was a big thing.
Was that his proposal? And if was that proposal to do,
that was a big issue.
That was a big issue to do with his service delivery in the area, or the party service delivery in the area?
Unfortunately, we cannot turn the discussion to him, but I just try to give you an example.
No, but I also let him, if he thinks that NRM is obsessed with regime survival, let him make his own party. That will not be possessed with, will not be possessed with that.
Let me remind you, on Madam Secretary General, at a press conference this week, the Honorable Margaret Muhanga and the Honorable Solomon Silwanyi, they speak for the party. They said the Honorable Tinka Simire, Honorable Sekikubo, Mbwate Kamwa are not allowed at the retreat in Chankwanzi. So they speak for the party, for the caucus, and they spoke with clarity on this issue, Madam Secretary General.
You invited me here as the Secretary General of NRM.
Yes.
Yes. They don't speak for the party. They speak
for the caucus.
organ.
And they speak for the caucus.
That's an organ of the NRM party. But I'm telling you, as the Secretary General, that we don't have a petition from the caucus. They've never been subjected to a disciplinary process. The party has never taken a decision to expel any.
Can I repeat for you that at a press conference, the spokesperson of the caucus and the deputy read names of those who were not welcome at the retreat? Well, if this was an army, then you have some kind of misguided deployment of your troops.
No, that's not misguided. You know, let me tell you, when you are managing community, when you are managing people, mistakes can be made. But mistakes can be corrected. That's why the two words exist. Mistake made, mistake corrected. And I'm here to tell you that on behalf of the NRM party.
Your party members made a mistake.
Because where did they generate that power from? They don't, it is not anywhere in the constitution of NRM. And even then, they ought to have written to the Secretary General to put it in black and white so that the Secretary General can even write back.
What a spectacular and coordinated movement of your troops, of your members of parliament. What a spectacular and coordinated movement of your movement. You
know the challenge, you people never want to be told the truth. You wanted me to cover up and say, no, we are managing communities. It's a mass party. If I've made a mistake, I should have made a mistake. But I'm telling you, the process we are supposed to follow.
It is that I wanted you to know, to tell us that you made a mistake. And you have just told us your party made a mistake. Or your party members made a mistake.
So I'm going to take it up with them. Okay. And by the way, not with them, with the government chief whip. Because he's the chairperson of the organ.
When you first came to the scene, Madam Secretary General, you inspired a lot of young people
Yes.
in Kampala, in central Uganda, because you are vibrant.
And I
you
still
have,
inspire.
yes, you still do. But to see the likes of you still shying away from the highest office of the land to vie for it, you know, it's almost an indictment on the young people. This generation, your generation, our generation. Why can't you say, President Yoweri Museveni, you've done a good job, we are going to step in?
But that is not part of my work. My work is to make sure the process that is clearly spelled out in the constitution of NRM of how to get a candidate, and the guidelines and regulations that are approved by Central Executive Committee are followed. That's my work. If I want to offer myself as a candidate according to the constitution of NRM, I'm supposed to resign that post of Secretary General to go and contest. It is all clear. So who said I'm shying away? You are just assuming?
Madam Secretary General, if we elect President Museveni, if you elect President Museveni in 2021 and he runs, he will have led this country for 40 years. So amongst all of you who are in Chankwanzi, have you failed to get somebody to carry on the baton and congratulate President Museveni for the good job he's done, and so that another generation takes over the leadership? Because in so doing, then you know that you have nurtured leaders, you have groomed leaders, and the country is in steady hands, just like the Tanzanians have done, the Kenyans have done it. You could do that, and that could show us that you are building democracy and you're moving on. Because in most countries in Africa, we have so many examples of those who have stayed for over 30 or 40 years. When they leave, what follows is disastrous.
You know, when Ugandans decided to sit and make a constitution, that was the blueprint on which to follow when it comes to issues of democracy in this country. And then they went ahead to put in place the laws enacting all the, to implement the different articles in the constitution. So when Ugandans decided that every 5 years we'll be choosing our own leaders, what powers then do I have to say, please, restrict this one, don't restrict this one, especially if one is within the requirements that are in the constitution?
The constitution, as we have it today,
laws,
has been severely mutilated. It's almost unrecognizable from the one that was promulgated in 1995.
Illegally or legally? Has it been done legally or illegally?
It can be legal but not right.
No.
There was a reason why. There was a reason why.
Challenge. Go to court and challenge it.
Oh yes.
Yeah, unfortunately, go to court and challenge it.
Unfortunately, the court case is still continuing. Anyway,
yeah, and it is still on.
So we will not get into that. But
okay.
But you know as well as I do that constitution has been mutilated beyond recognition. It's not the one that was promulgated in 1990.
That's your personal view. I don't think all people hold those views.
Two things, Madam Secretary General, that were very important was the issue of the term limits and the issue of the age limit. They no longer exist. So those ones could have given us some kind of a stopgap measure, and then maybe the continuity where people like Honorable Justin Kasuli Lumumba perhaps would be vying for the presidency. But because that was changed, it's not possible anymore.
Do you mean to say that whenever President Museveni contests, he gets 100%, and there are dissenting voices that don't vote him, or those that don't vote NRM? Those voices are there, and it's their right. So if people don't need the candidate of NRM, they don't vote the candidate of NRM. That's why you see NRM presidential flag bearer does not get 100%. If you observe, we have been between 60%, actually 55% and 70%. It has been in that range. We've never gotten 90% or 100%. That shows you that people have a right to choose who they want, and those who don't want the NRM flag bearer don't vote. That's why in Parliament we don't have 100%. Other sister parties have representatives.
In fact, the 2016 election
have representatives.
The 2016 election, Madam Secretary General, was so contested.
Wait. Even at the lower structures, we have districts that are led by non-members of NRM. Last term, this term, and you find the same party. Let me give an example of Gulu. The former chairman of last term of LC5 Gulu district was FDC, who is the current one and is still FDC. So Ugandans are free to choose the leaders they want to choose, and that's what NRM fought for. And that's why people lost lives because of that, part of it. So we should respect that. We should not restrict people. And even the Constitution clearly spells out how they can amend, how they can cause constitutional amendments depending on the particular article, whether through parliament or through a referendum. So if it is done, then the discussion would be, if you are not satisfied with that, then bring proposals. But if the amendments have been done in accordance to the Constitution, and they've not changed the Constitution that maybe you should do it this way, we Ugandans should stop lamenting and say, if this is not proper, or we've done this, but we ought to improve it this way. Bring proposals to improve, or bring proposals to entrench, or bring proposals to change.
Who's going to be the first beneficiary of this constitutional amendment?
All Ugandans who are above 75 years.
But you know, the direct beneficiary is President Museveni.
Not
he's
him
been in
alone.
power.
Why do you say him alone?
You
because
have
the issue is talking about only,
committee.
the issue is only talking, it is about age 75. Why do you say that? Because it's not about those who have been in power before. It's talking about age.
Okay. Is the caucus this time around sitting in Chankwanzi likely to follow in the footsteps of the Chobe resolution?
I can't say yes or no. And it will also depend on what I will present as Secretary General.
What will you present?
First of all, I have to present the roadmap of NRM. And remember, it's only NRM party that has brought out its roadmap. Our sister parties have not yet. So after the Independent Electoral Commission brought out a roadmap, we also brought out our roadmap. I have to discuss it with that organ. Though I will move now to NEC. They are also part of NEC. Then I will bring to them, first of all, the resolutions of the NRM Parliamentary Caucus that we passed in the retreat of 2016, and then evaluate how far. Then also the resolutions that we had as after constituting government for this term, and give it to them and know how far. Then I will give them the resolution. I will also discuss with them the resolutions of Chobe. The resolutions of Chobe, we have ideology and strategy. And it's under ideology and strategy that what you want to talk about falls under. But we also have resolutions to do with patriotism. And by the way, let me use this opportunity to inform members of NRM that under for the principles of NRM, we have patriotism, we have nationalism, we have socio-economic transformation, Pan-Africanism, and democracy. But Chobe took a decision, the Chobe resolution, the Chobe session said we should, instead of nationalism, we should have patriotism. The difference is, for nationalism, you are so loyal to your country, and you serve your country, you like your country. But even if you took a decision, but when, let me differentiate between. So when the difference between nationalism and patriotism, for nationalism, you are too loyal to your country, and you love your country. For patriotism, you love your country, but you also love your neighbors. So you remember we had German nationalism. I'm sorry, diplomacy may not allow this. So somewhere it was abused and it caused the world wars. So we have decided to go to the word patriotism and use the word patriotism.
Okay, Madam Secretary General, we're going to take a break and we'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching On The Spot. My name is Patrick Amara. My guest tonight is the Secretary General of the NRM Party, the Honorable Justin Kasule Lumumba. I think we need to move on now because we have seen a number of by-elections the last couple of months, and sometimes they try to show us either the NRM is scared of competition or something else. This is what I mean. If the violence that was exhibited during the by-election is a pointer to where we are headed in terms of how people were beaten, then us Ugandans, we should really get worried when it comes to 2021. Because journalists were clobbered in broad daylight, members of parliament were tortured. It was ugly. If this is a dress rehearsal for 2021, God forbid, this country should get worried.
Before I come to that, Chobe resolution we also discussed. We have a resolution to do with the how to move the 68% who are under subsistence agriculture, how to get into the economy. And to me that is most important of all the resolutions there.
Yeah, but you can only get them into the economy if we have peace, if the election is not contested. But if the mechanism of electing a president is contested and people have been beaten or even killed along the way, then there's no way how you're going to build the economy unless everything is peaceful.
There is peace in this country. I want you to acknowledge and applaud those who have really contributed to make sure there is peace in this country, because it's not one person's effort. So sometimes when you people in media talk, it's like after here you are not going to drive home safely. Insha Allah, a Muslim adds. So when you talk of by-elections and you talk of violence, the violence is something that has come in recently in these by-elections. If you observe, it's like we had by-elections before. For this particular time, we had by-elections. We had a by-election in Aru North, that's in Padere district. There was no violence. We had a by-election in Arua, in one of the constituencies in Arua, leave the municipality, but this one next to Nebi, I'm forgetting the name, where we have and there was no violence. I'm explaining to those where there was violence and those where there was no violence. We had a by-election in Toroma County in Katakwe district. There was no violence. We had a by-election in Kagoma County in Jinja district. There was no violence. The violence was in the Bujiri municipality. The violence was in Arua municipality. The violence was in Jinja municipality, Jinja East municipality. And the violence was on the streets of Kampala. So when you talk of violence, one thing I want you to also know as media, Arua was unique on its own. Because where have you ever seen a president of a country being stoned? Being stoned. You want to miss that point. A fountain of honor. His car was stoned, and it was showed to us, the media. I wouldn't want to get into that because no, you know why. Why don't you want to also talk about that? There's a court case still going on. Then why are you talking about violence? If you want to talk about the issue of by-elections and violence, and you are saying MPs were arrested, it's only in Arua where MPs were arrested. Were there MPs arrested in Bujiri? Did you see an MP arrested in Nebi municipality? Did you see an MP arrested in a patch? There was death in Bugiri. There was death in Arua. There was mayhem on the streets of Kampala. Now. There was mayhem in Mityana. Members of parliament were arrested and tortured. And I'm asking you, if that is a pointer to where we are headed, because this was just a by-election, then Uganda when you talk about members of parliament, do you know what their action before they are arrested? Do you know what how their actions also affect the majority and the most vulnerable and the ordinary people in those areas? Why do you always want to look at us, the big people, and you don't look at our actions, the effects have on the ordinary or vulnerable people? I wouldn't want at any moment because somebody has disagreed with you to torture you. Who also have to be protected by the president of this country. Madam Secretary General, nobody should be tortured. You should actually look at the effects of we, the big people, our actions on the vulnerable people. For the Honorable Robert Chagulanyi,
For
When
the
you
Honorable Robert
misbe-
Chagulanyi to
excuse
get
me,
out
Kamara,
of
when we
prison
misbehave,
when
we with the
limping.
big offices, must the government look on? The people who are in charge, who are given the responsibility to protect Ugandans and their properties, must they not take action? And if somebody is arrested and is taken to court, I thought that's what it should be. What should it be? If one is arrested, Lumumba is arrested and is paraded in court, I thought that's what it should be. We should now be talking of whether Lumumba is paraded in court within the mandatory time or not.
I'm not even disputing that. I'm asking the elements of torture. If you arrest Lumumba, that's okay. But you do not torture Lumumba, for heaven's sake.
Who was tortured? These people who are moving in big shoes claiming they have broken bones. Did you watch that? Did you?
How can you make such a statement?
Yes. Somebody
So
claims he has a broken leg, but is putting on a 2-kilogram shoe. Medically, do you I'm not a professional in that.
You're telling Ugandans that
Do you know
those
some
members
have
of parliament
put-
who are pretentious.
Do you know some have put in Katemba? Are you aware? Do you know Katemba? Some of this political comedy, by the way, you media should analyze it better. Yeah, analyze some of our political comedy. Analyze it.
We have seen images of Honorable Zake tortured, flesh off his hand. We saw his face swollen. We saw Honorable Robert Chagulanyi with swollen face, with torture marks. And you say that is pretentious? That is comedy?
Who was putting on, who was claiming that his leg was broken and was putting on a 2-kilogram shoe?
Didn't you see the images of a man who had been severely beaten? Honorable Zake. You cannot say that's comedy.
Have you ever evaluated?
No, you cannot. No, Madam Secretary, you cannot say that it's
have
comedy.
you ever evaluated the effects of us, the big people, in those areas where we were, to the ordinary people? Because Lumumba can afford to come and parade camera. Do you ever look at what Lumumba's actions have, how they have affected the ordinary person in Arua, in Bujiri, you've talked of Mitiana? Have you ever? I want you to be balanced as media. I don't support torture.
That's
and
I'm
one person,
against.
by the way, I may talk boldly, but I'm a coward. The moment you slap me, that will be the end of it. I'm a coward. That I want to say it publicly. For me, I'm a coward. I don't want any pain on my body. And that's why you can never
You should
find
be the last
me.
person to say
But
those
I
who
want
had
to tell
pain
you,
were engaging in comedy.
No.
Because what you've just
But
said
I
is
don't
painful
support torture.
to the rest
No,
of
no, no.
Ugandans
I don't
listening like
condone
something like that.
torture. I don't condone torture. And I'm telling you, I'm a coward. But also as media, do you ever look at the impact of the actions of we, the big people, to the ordinary, vulnerable people in those areas where where it happens? You media, you always look at us, the big people, and you forget to look at the ordinary person in that particular area. I'm just saying, can you be balanced? But I don't support torture, and I don't condone torture, and I'm a coward. If you want to see how
I think you have balanced it. No, I cannot even think about it. You have said you want to build Uganda's economy, and so that the 68% of the people who engage in agriculture, probably agriculture can start bringing so much.
Not engaged in agriculture. The 68% who are either engaged in subsistence agriculture or have nothing to do. Because now as we talk, we have even people who are not in agriculture, are not employed, they are not in industry, but they are. So it's not only those in agriculture.
So how do you plan to have...
The decision we took in Chobe as SEC, this 68% and these graduates who are not employed, first of all, where are they? Yes, the statistics will give you so many are in Bujiri, but we took a decision, let's go now. Leave this business of the approach of having people in Kampala saying, or people at the district level saying, we want to give the people of Change Ojoti.
That's my home district.
Of course I know. Oh, that beautiful place. We want to give those people in Chegegwa tea. We want to give those in Toroko, we want to give them cows. We want to know at the parish level how many households are in that parish. Of the households, how many are above and which ones are they? We want the staff, the government staff, the parish chief at the parish level to be able to point and say that home they are above the poverty line.
The statistics
this home,
are available, Madam Secretary General. When you go to UBOS, you'll pull the statistics.
We want that statistics
you have the
taken
people,
to the parish.
Those people at
Yes,
UBOS have the information.
They have
the level of poverty, who is poor.
No, they have the information in the computers.
Yes.
But you want this information taken back to the parish. And then we know which home, what can we do for this particular home. Set up a demonstration farm. If it's an agricultural parish, set up a demonstration farm. Let fertilizers be given at the parish level and the proper fertilizers even after testing the soil. And even then, what can they do that can change? Because let me give you an example.
The issue is not that you do not know what is required.
Let me tell you. Do you know sometimes government, sometimes, not always, you find they come and say, this one wants a cow. They give you a cow for milk, but yet you would have preferred one for beef. And that's what you can look after. Let me give you an example. Just at the beginning end of February, I had a meeting with the women leaders of the Renzori sub-region or Renzori zone from those 8 districts. That is, and then the women councils and the women league. And we said now, the president pledged to give you cows. Are you ready for cows? Some said no. For me, I don't want cows. For me, I want chicken. For me, I want to go into poultry. I cannot afford cows because I don't have space. And then they told us, you bring cows from outside this environment, buy cows from here so that they are within the same environment. And remember, I was doing this for the zone. But we have not been doing that. We want to do that now at parish level.
But okay.
So the information, yes, is there. It's in the computers. But we want them to be brought, that information to be brought in a parish, so that when I'm the parish chief of a parish, I know how many homesteads have this, how many need this, how many don't require this, how many require this. Because even, we also have a challenge. In some areas, you find we have fake drugs on the market. We have fake fertilizers, we have fake this. But if it's at parish level, then there must be a center where government can even control the quality.
But you've just said almost 70% of our people are engaged in agriculture. How much are you putting in terms of budget? Why are you giving so little to the biggest part of your population?
That is now a discussion we have to have in Chankwanza. As I present that parish model, we have even attached a budget, and it was calculated by
what
Dr.
the problem
Suroma.
is. I know you know what the problem is. You have even made many propositions, but the problem you never implement. Because when you try to analyze the problem, we know what the problem is. You know what the problem is, but you're not moving. Because you cannot have 70% of your people engaged in agriculture and you give them 3% of the budget. It doesn't make sense.
Mr. Kamara, it is not only an issue of the budget, but identifying the correct measure to solve a problem. We have identified, government has identified the different measures of solving a problem. But I'm telling you, instead of solving a problem at a district level, we are saying let's go down and sit with these people in their homes. It has happened somewhere else.
The government wanted to recruit 5,000 extension workers because those are more people who are more technical than we are, who can even advise the farmers at the sub-county level. But those extension workers have not been recruited to give technical advice to the farmers so that you can know these are wrong seeds, this is not right fertilizer, this is how you plant.
technical workers,
Extension
extension
services.
workers were recruited. Most of the districts recruited, and those districts that recruited the extension workers, just last week they were given vehicles at the district level
Yes,
with the GPS.
not the numbers that were
And
required.
then they even gave motorcycles, those at the sub-county. Just last week they were given.
Yes,
So
but
for
not
districts that recruited, they were given. And those that didn't recruit were given a deadline within which to recruit the extension workers. So when you say we are not implementing, we may not be as fast as you would expect government to be, because there are competing priorities. Look here, Uganda is a landlocked country. NRM government has done its best using taxpayers' money and even loans to make sure Uganda is opened to the neighbors, to remove this problem of being landlocked. That's why you see all roads that lead to the borders, the major roads, have all been tarmacked. Now that would have opened up, look at the road to Mirama Hills, the road to Chanika, the road to Ariwara Market, the road to the road to Mpondwe, the road to Karamoja. Now it's in Moroto, moving, it will go up to Kabong, the road to Malaba, the road to Busia, so opening up Uganda to reduce on the challenges of being landlocked. Now the government is working on the internal roads, and as they work on the internal roads, they're also putting in the issue of the oil roads. So now that they've opened up, now that makes us to have market an advantage or comparative advantage in this area, because Uganda has the best arable land in this region. So we should we improve on being a food basket to the neighbors. You see what has been happening between Uganda and Rwanda. Whatever happens, we all have to, we go the other side for food, they come this side for food. So now that has been done. Then now we have also the issue of, when you look at agriculture, we have the issue of water, for safe water in the homes. But we are now also faced with the challenge of issue of water for production. Government has now
today,
that's why
Madam
now we
Secretary,
have Doho
just
and
today,
Mobutu.
I was reading in northern Uganda, there's a place where government put up a dam. It cost about 9 billion Uganda shillings. That dam has not even helped in supplying water for production for the people. 900 billion just there in one of those districts.
900 billion?
9 billion, sorry. 9 billion to build a dam. And yet the dam has not been used for farming or water for production.
No,
so sometimes you can have a vanity project and put it there and it has not helped.
No, the challenge we have had is that those who are in the party, the NRM party, in the structures, who go out to campaign seeking mandate, setting the manifesto to the Ugandans, when it comes to implementation, we have had a weakness also as NRM government, NRM party. We've not involved fully the owners of the manifesto to be part of the team to monitor their manifesto, the implementation of their manifesto.
You have the manifesto implementation team headed by the former Bushenyi district chairperson.
No, but that is government. I'm talking of the party. I'm talking of the party. So as they have that in government, we need to have the same on the side of what? Of the party. So that if you're a chairperson of NRM of a district, you can access information about that dam, and then you can even monitor. You know they are supposed to it is supposed to be this size. You even measure.
Let me give
and
you
then
an
follow
example.
up service delivery.
Years back, the government of Uganda borrowed about $10 million to build a hospitality in the college in your area. It took almost 9 years. The money is losing value, you're paying interest, and yet the school is not being built until maybe last year but one. So sometimes money can be borrowed, and now the second biggest item in the budget for 2019-2020 is going to be debt servicing. Soon it will be the biggest item.
That's where I've told you issues of monitoring by the party. Because what happened about what you are talking about, crested crane,
Yes.
it is until the leadership of Ginger came and took it up with the central government.
But the government of Uganda borrowing $10 million and the money is just there. You are paying interest and the school is not being built. Most of our hotels here, if you look for the middle managers, they are foreigners. Why? Because you don't have the technical skills to run hotels. Yet we have borrowed money to build a hotel and you cannot.
That's why I'm telling you. We need to expand on the issues of monitoring service delivery in this country. Yes, we have the structures in the government, but they are the ones implementing and they are the ones monitoring. And so we now need to bring on the ruling party, but not only the ruling party, all political parties. Because remember, Ugandans went multi-party. That means that they knew one party would win, but the other party also still remains a stakeholder on issues of service delivery in this country. Because it is taxpayers' money, it's money for all Ugandans. So we need now to bring in that component of political parties, not only NRM, to really fully and to monitor issue service delivery in this country. That's the only way we shall avoid that. Instead of keeping off, and then we leave those who are in the government to do it, and when they don't do it well, there is nobody else to check them.
Does the issue of increasing debt that we are getting from these loans bother you? Because there are some examples I've had of a country like Sri Lanka that seem to have lost their port because they could not repay the Chinese. Isn't the debt we're accumulating likely to threaten our sovereignty?
First of all, as we have also put in place measures to see that we have checks and balances. We took a decision in 2016 after constituting government. Before a loan goes to cabinet, it has to be approved by the Prime Minister and the Secretary General. So in that, we check all of that. And there are some loans we are still holding until we have verified one or two things. So a loan to go to get to cabinet, it must be a loan that we must have at this time. That we must have at this time.
But look,
so
look,
the debt is going up, but also want you to realize that also our demands are going up. Because now look here, as we talk now, we have to borrow for the SGR to improve transport. Let me give see how the traffic jam is in Kampala. But if you look at how people who use the little train between the railway here and Bweyogerere, they are so happy. But it's not enough even for just that stretch alone. But if we can improve and open up under SGR, using SGR, and open up to Mombasa, and open up, go through Tanzania.
SGR is not going to solve the issue of congestion and traffic jam, Madam Secretary General.
It will solve. It will solve. Because just look at how people line up for this small train.
I thought the SGR you're building is for transporting goods and services across the country, not necessarily solving the congestion in Kampala.
No, it's supposed to have the two components. Look here, instead of you spending 3 hours to drive from Kampala to Tororo, if there is a train, why don't you board the train? So when you are talking about the debt, yes, we are not yet at the 40% of our GDP.
But you know it is the second.
We are moving.
But you know it is the second on the things, our priority, the things we have to do in the 2019-2020. Debt servicing is the second biggest item after infrastructure. Before you even think about the health, before you think about education, agriculture, the second most important thing in our budget is debt servicing.
When it comes to
doesn't that scare you?
When it comes to debt service, actually for me what scares me most is the people who have supplied government, people who have lent money to government, the local people here. If government does not pay, those stifle the development in the country. That should be our priority. Somebody who is doing business with the government here, the local investor, that should be our priority. So if we are doing the debt servicing and we are paying the local people, servicing the local debt, that makes
that does not stifle development. But the
you know-
moment
but you
they
know-
don't,
But you know,
government doesn't,
just
that
2 years
stifles
ago,
development.
just 2 years ago, the leading businessmen and women in Kampala were coming into government because they needed a bailout. In fact, including one of the gentlemen that was giving a keynote address today.
I don't want to talk about individuals to that.
Yes, but you know,
because that is
business
their private
people.
goal. But when these people were coming up, if you observe, they were coming up at a time when the world was grappling with economic issues.
That was
across
2008,
the
Madam
country.
Secretary General. I'm talking about 2 years ago.
No, when it hit America, it didn't hit the world at the same time. Each country has had to dance to that at different times, at different years. It was not at the same, it didn't happen that it happened in US and happened everywhere in the world at the same time. No. The whole world, the different countries have had its shares at different times.
The cost of doing business in Uganda is high because the interest rates are high, electricity tariffs are high, sometimes people have to contend with corruption. So if you make a business here, perhaps those businessmen have understood it to do business in Uganda. No wonder we are having a lot of non-performing loans because the interest rates are so high. Electricity tariff, if you want to be in production, is so high.
Yes, interest rates are high, that's true. But you have seen government coming up with putting money in the UDB and UDC. That is an effort to help, especially in the particular areas, especially in agriculture, tourism, those that bring in money, those that employ many people. That is an effort that government has done. And when it comes to the issue of the cost of, but also the credit, the agricultural credit facility that government put in the commercial banks. Commercial banks have not given this money to the farmers at 12%. Instead, they sell their own facility and they don't tell farmers about this, and they've kept information to themselves. That's why government is taking a decision that let this money in the commercial banks and in Bank of Uganda be put in UDB so that the farmers can access, so that government sensitizes people instead of relying on the private sector.
Then why don't you have an agriculture bank?
That will be now the next debate.
Madam
Now,
Secretary,
when it comes to the issue of the cost of production, yes, there is the cost of money. But also, if you look at the cost of electricity, government has also gone ahead to renegotiate the loan for Bujagali so that the unit cost of electricity comes down. And that's why you see the people in industries, they get electricity at 5 cents. This was deliberately done by President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni so that we can industrialize, and that's why we are producing. Government is constructing more dams for us to have electricity in abundance. But still, we have to address the unit cost of electricity. But now you cannot supply electricity, either thermal or power, to government unless you are supplying at 8 cents. And this is coming from 22 cents at a time when we had load shedding, thermal power. And coming with Bujagali, now coming down to 8 cents. So, please, government is struggling with that. We've not yet succeeded, but there are efforts. But for industries,
we shall get back
in
to our
industrial
energy,
parks.
we shall get back to our energy needs, Madam Secretary General. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, I'll also be asking about what does NRM have up their sleeve for Uganda's jobless generation. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching On the Spot. My name is Patrick Amara. My guest this evening is the Secretary General of the NRM Party, Justin Kasule Lumumba. You know, Madam Secretary General, what is your response to Uganda's young, jobless generation? They want to work, there's no work. In fact, those who are into the exploitation of labor have helped the government. Some young people have found jobs maybe in the Middle East. But also, some of those jobs are not as deserving as they should because they are educated only to go and do jobs that perhaps does not respect, align with the dignity they deserve. What
government's response to that question, that problem?
One, in our NRM manifesto, we realized that on the market, in the labor market, there are our sons and daughters who completed university, but they are not absorbable because they are not skilled to do the available jobs. And we promised Ugandans that we shall have skilling. So if you look at the presidential initiative of skilling the girl child, here they've so far had 4 sessions where they get girls and boys, teach them in, skill them in making shoes, they make shoes,
They give them some vocational skills.
Then at the time when they are releasing them to go to the world, they give them some small tandikwa like capital, maybe to pay rent for where they are going to work with, and the tool or the kit to be for them to use. That's one. 2, you have seen how those who are graduates, but they don't have the skill, those have also been taken under the program of skilling under the Ministry of Education, skilling and retooling under the Ministry of Education. They've been doing that. But the challenge is the number is big, and they are taking on.
So as government in power, why don't you think of a comprehensive educational overhaul system?
I'm explaining,
so that
Mr. Kamara, I'm explaining. You said what is government? Let me list them, then get to that level. So now there is that skilling and retooling done by the Ministry of Education. But also you remember in our manifesto, we promised there are those who have learnt on the job, especially maybe in a garage, in what, but they don't know English, but they know what to do. They have the skill. But they're also training others on the job, whether they're educated or not educated, but they are passing on these skills to others. So those also government brings them together. They are tested, they are examined, actually the right word is they are examined, and then given the what? Given the certificate, recognized, they certify them. After that, then they encourage them to go and do that for others. So then we also have the issue of the changing the curriculum. As we talk now, they are changing the curriculum. And now there is also the investors round table, the presidential investor round table, where those who are in the private sector are interacting with those in the government to see how to harmonize, to work in harmony. Because when the government has brought out a curriculum, these are educated and they are not absorbed in the market. Where do the two meet to bring this together? But that alone, government also has gone ahead to encourage investors to come in this country, and also the local investors to invest and employ people. You have seen how the president has been going to different areas to open up industries, and also you have seen how Ugandans have been employed in the different industries. But the question which has always been on has been the minimum wage, and which Parliament passed the other time. But also government has gone ahead to say districts that have land, please give us land and we set up industrial parks, so that the power from Isimba, the power from Karuma will be taken and used in these industrial parks. Government has also gone ahead to connect all sub-counties to be connected to have electricity, so that people can have cottage industries. You don't have to leave Kampala.
I've seen the power lines go over people's homes and things, huts, but I haven't seen production centers around the sub-counties. I don't see.
No, it's our responsibility now, me and you, to encourage people
and
to
I've
have
also seen
industries.
Government building vocational institutions almost in quite a number of places, including in Namutumba, if I have it right, one of the districts in the Busoga region. But when you look at the enrollment, it is so low.
No, the
children
issue of,
and the parents are shunning the institutions, and yet the institutions are supposed to give them vocational skills.
Government policy is we should have a vocational institute in every constituency. Some have, some don't have. So yes, in Namutumba they don't have, but there is one in Bugiri, and there is a technical college in where? In Iganga. In Iganga. The one in Iganga is supposed to serve that whole area.
But have you bothered to look
now
at the enrollment in those colleges?
The issue of enrollment is something we all have to work on. We have, long ago, everybody would want his or her child to go to university and get a degree. But now you find these who have been in the technical colleges and the technical institutes come out with the skills and instead are employing the graduates. So we should now encourage people to take their children to this for vocational training so that they live and they create jobs for themselves. They employ themselves and employ others.
That is within
so it is
your docket as leaders,
yes,
as the people in charge of this government, to be able to do all that.
By the way,
because you cannot put a vanity project there. You borrow money and it's not being utilized to its full capacity.
Don't run away. Don't run away. Part of the media, that is part of, is to educate people. So we should work on that mentality, the negative attitude towards vocational education. That was long ago, because they would go and look for graduates from the one university called Makerere and employ them before they complete. It has changed. We have to work and tell the community that we require to take our children for vocational education so that they come out and begin working instead of looking for jobs.
I'm going to be opening the lines so that in this last segment of our show, so that Ugandans would want to ask a question or even contribute to what you're saying or re-emphasize a point, this is the time. The numbers are going to be showing on the screen so that you too can be a part of this discussion. Let me just take the very first caller online. Hello.
Hello.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening to you, Kamara.
Yes, thank you for calling in. What's your name and where are you calling from?
This is Bwire calling from Mukono.
Bwire in Mukono, you are on air, loud and clear.
I'm now trying to ask Justice Kaswe Mumba.
Yes.
That the teachers who made her what she is.
Mm-hmm.
As a person in government, what is her plans for teachers?
The teachers of Uganda.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bwire, and she will be responding to you in a minute. And I promise that we could go to other issues. I have another call online. Hello?
Hello?
Hello? Hello? Okay, looks like that person is not hearing me, and we're having an echo into the studio. And for the time being, I'm going to be letting the hello? Okay, here is the thing. You cannot try to call and then you also listen to yourself on your TV set. The best thing is you call and you turn down the volume. If the volume is up, we shall have an echo where you are and here in the studio, and we can't have a healthy conversation. If, for all those who are watching you tonight, Madam Secretary General, if they had a chance to have lunch or even dinner today, that dinner was cooked either using charcoal or wood, including some corporate Ugandans, many of us. And by doing so, the biggest chunk of our forest cover has been totally depleted. So what proposition do you have as a party to give us alternative sources of our energy requirements so that we do not entirely depend on the forest cover? Because if we deplete it, we are doomed. In fact, even the dams that we are building will dry because they depend on the hydrology.
One, on issues of environment, it's a concern of all of us. And it's our responsibility as NRM government to make sure we protect what is there and don't deplete, but instead add on. But I want you to, we have a program in the Ministry of Environment where even forests that had been depleted have been given to individuals to plant trees. Then we also have, it's a program that's also going on in schools where children are also taught environment and their actions, the effect of their actions to environment. Then we also have the issue of Ugandans have taken it up themselves, especially the educated people and those from areas where there is land and are planting trees. Not only NRM people, but also taken it up as a business. Like there is what they call a New Forest Company. New Forest Company has forests in Bujiri, has forests in Mubende, and I think they have also taken up in Agago to plant trees. So what has government done? The president has been opening industries, and some of these industries have been built in swampy areas or in swamps or in wetlands. And he gave a directive actually this Monday. I'm an ex-official member of cabinet, and he said nobody should be given a license to build a factory in a swamp. That has also, he gave it on Monday. But also government has gone ahead to have a program with communities that grow rice.
The entire Namamve industrial area is in a swamp.
But then
The whole of it.
that's why I'm saying.
So you're going to close it?
They say no more licensing. So for those who are in the swamps, the president gave a directive that the ministry.
But you led by example in Namamve, so
the ministry or the Ministry of Environment and Water should go and dig canals so that water can move freely. They should go and dig canals in those areas. And even where they are going to build the Nescafe industry, they have already made, the Ministry of Works has already made the canals in those areas. So I was explaining the issue of the communities that are growing rice. For them, they may not have cut trees, but they have destroyed that. So they have been encouraged, and government has even funded some of them under Para Rice, under the different communities, the whole project, so that they don't grow the rice in where the water is supposed to pass. They grow on the sides, so that the water still moves. They don't disturb the movement of the water, but they still plant the rice and grow rice. But also they've gone ahead to introduce the upland rice. Let me give an example. Government has, when you look at the Doho project,
yes,
people are growing rice, but not destroying the environment. So this is supposed to be done also in Kapchorwa. This is also being done in Bulambuli, and they are supposed to expand to many rice growing, so that the swamps are the garden. Yes, they grow rice, but they don't affect the environment negatively. But also the issue of extending power to the rural areas, the rural electrification, is also a way of saving on the trees. And people, wait, those who can use the electricity. But the challenge is the unit cost is still high for an ordinary person to use it.
No, not even ordinary.
As a fuel.
Even the honorable members of parliament, perhaps even including ministers, could be using charcoal and wood in the village to cook, and charcoal here in Kampala. It is that, including institutions of government.
And when it comes to institutions,
because power is
has
not
also encouraged,
power is not affordable.
Government has also encouraged institutions to use biogas, and some big schools are using the biogas. So the big enrollment they have for students, sorry, is the waste is used as for biogas, so that they tap into that. But also what you also have to know is that we as Ugandans, we must also plant trees, not only for firewood, but also be able to have trees in our compounds.
Okay.
For those who
we are coming to the end, and I'll be giving an opportunity to respond to the caller, Mr. Bwire there, but others who are trying also to get in touch. We just had a small technical hitch, but maybe I cannot leave without asking the NRM government's solution to the cost. We have a call online. Hello.
Hello.
Good evening, sir. What's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Kyenjojo. I'm calling Bagwanza Birungi.
Yes.
In the Kyenjojo Charsozi district.
All right, go right ahead, sir. Good to hear you from Kyenjojo.
I am seeing wires passing my place.
Yes.
And I wanted to make some small production units. But the wires carry the power, I don't know where, and I cannot get access to the power. But power has passed my place here.
Okay.
Which village?
He's in Kyenjojo. He's in Charusozi, to be precise. Okay. I suppose you'll have to get in touch with your district local chairperson to be able to do that, but also, Madam Secretary General, you could respond to Mr. Baguma Kenjojo. And you'll respond to those questions. I have another caller online. Hello.
Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening to you.
What's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm called Jane. I'm calling from Barara.
Jane in Imbarara, you're on air.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Kamara.
Good evening, Jane.
Good evening, Kasure Lumumba.
Good evening,
I want to congratulate Madam Kasure Lumumba. Thank you very much for explaining each and everything in detail. I'm very happy. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night, Jane.
Thank you very much. Okay. You know, my producer is telling me to take more calls, but our time is almost done. Hello? Okay. The issue of medical care. Most of us, including all those Ugandans who you could say they are corporate Ugandans, we are living in perpetual vulnerability. This is what I mean. You're just one medical bill away from real poverty. God forbid if you are sick or your loved one gets sick and is admitted in one of these hospitals in Kampala, a week or two will take you back 10 years in whatever you would have probably saved. What is the strategy? At least to give Uganda some kind of medical insurance or something like that, because that is a serious problem here.
Before we talk about medical insurance, let's talk about what is available. We have health centers. The policy is we should have a district hospital. We should have a regional. They used to call them regional, but now they've become actually every zone has a referral hospital. Every zone now has a referral hospital. You find Arua, West Nile has a referral hospital. You go to Karamoja, there is a referral hospital in Moroto. You come to Toro, there is a referral hospital in Fort Portal. There is a referral hospital in Jinja. So those referral hospitals are available, but they are supposed to offer superior services which cannot be offered by district hospitals. Then we also have district hospitals, though some of the new districts don't have district hospitals yet. Let me give an example of Busia.
But you know the services there are really wanting.
I'm going to explain. Then we have sub-county hospitals, Health Center 3. And government took a decision that let's first work on these, equip them in terms of medicine, in terms of equipment, in terms of staff. You get it? Let's not rush for the parish hospitals or health center tools, because we're taking on too much. Let's first equip these and make sure there is medicine. So now, yes, the staff are there. But the biggest challenge we have been having is the issue of the medicines. So government went ahead to label the drugs. Government went ahead, when they procure the drugs, every district is given information, including the local government leadership and the MPs. And then it is the central government truck that delivers the drugs to the health center up to health center 3, and it is monitored by the central government using GPS. And this has answered, not to 100%, but it has answered availability of these drugs in these areas. But the challenge we still have is that you find a sub-county or a health center will requisition from central government the medicine that they require. Then they get a challenge, another challenge sets in that they didn't expect. So there is this, the process of accessing the drugs immediately is a bit slow, because it's like there is one straight line. So in case something else happens outside the straight line, they delay. That's one. Two, the issue of the bills, we still have challenges like issues to do with the cancer. Yes, Mulago is doing itself, but it's crowded. the numbers are big for Mulago to handle. So you find some may not be attended to in time. So the challenge now at the hands of government is to decongest Mulago. If Mulago is handling cancer, can you have Chirudu also to have the facility to handle at least some numbers? Can we have some of at least one per region, one per constitutional region, to have a cancer institute so that these are handled? But even then, as we handle cancer, the government we are arguing government. You know, I'm on the side of the party, but those in the government to put more money in research. Why the increase in the cancer?
But you've put money
Why
in the renovation of you've put money in the renovation of Mulago Hospital. You built the women's hospital. Women have shunned it on the account of it being very expensive.
You know, what is their steps? Provide in abundance. After you have provided, work on the cost. Provide.
It was supposed to stop the medical tourism, especially for people at a higher level who are going to maybe Nairobi or South Africa to do it here. Medical tourism has
so
not
now
stopped.
they've provided it in Mulago, the fertility center. They've provided the women hospital. Now the issue is government is now working on reducing the cost.
Majority of our women in Uganda cannot afford to go to that fertility center in Mulago.
That's why I'm saying
And
government,
yet it was built for
government, there was nothing. Government has provided. Now government is working on reducing the cost to make it accessible for the ordinary Ugandan.
How is that
so,
even possible?
First of all,
when you brought an investor, you brought an investor.
Mr. Kamara,
the president had to go there and launch.
Let's appreciate government has built the women's hospital.
And the start of the construction of
but
a hospital in
let's urge
Lubowa.
Government to reduce on the what? To reduce
an
the
investor
costs.
in Lubowa was supposed to build a highly specialized hospital. The president went there to start the groundbreaking ceremony. It turned out the investor didn't have money. It turned out the investor wants our money. It turns out Parliament is passing a resolution to give them money. In fact, maybe we're going to borrow it. And we give it an investor to build. For somebody who came with their money to invest.
You know,
does it make sense?
You know, when it comes to building like that hospital, they are supposed to build that hospital using special materials, which I'm not a scientist.
Yes, but that should have come
That's
earlier.
Why I want to explain to you why that
the starting of building of a hospital, and then the investor tells you, wait a minute,
please,
I also need the money.
Give me the opportunity to explain it to you. To explain to you in my ordinary language, because I'm not a scientist. That hospital, you know, when it comes to the international standards, where you say people go for medical tourism and whatnot, it is a sealed room. It is sealed. They control even the air in the room. No air comes from out. So it is like the way you would look at government borrowing money. It is under that
and
arrangement.
they give it to an investor. And
then they give to an investor to build to that standard, to the standard. Because if you observe, the hospital, you know in this country, they will open a window. But according to the international standard, you are not supposed, it is supposed to be sealed. So they build to the standard. They are not supposed to use, they are supposed to use special tiles. They are supposed to use different materials
Granted,
which we don't have that capacity here. Our medical people will tell you, we don't have it. But let that be built so that we learn and build the capacity of our medical people. Tomorrow they will do that for us as Uganda. Can you allow me answer the question,
Mr. Bwire, yes.
Yes. Mr. Bwire from Mukono says, teachers made me what I am. It is true, teachers made me what I am, and I'm also a teacher by profession. So if Mr. Bwire didn't know, I'm a teacher by profession. What are they planning for the teachers? Teachers made an agreement with government and agreed on how the government will be increasing their remuneration. And government has been fulfilling that. But now the question the question now is, NRM under the leadership of President Museveni is saying, let's pay science teachers more than the teachers of arts. That is now the discussion. That you people in the sciences can manage. I mean, yours they are facts. You can only challenge with more facts, and you are managing nature. We people who did the arts this side are the ones to manage society, so that the scientists can have people in the society to treat. So we need both. How do we handle? And at a time when we are talking about science and innovation, where we want science innovation to be done, so that we have different technologies coming in to change the interventions in this country in the different sectors. So then the issue of Mr.
Baguma, I think, in Ichanjojo.
Baguma in Ichanjojo,
Yes.
wires passing him. I am going to take up this with the rural electrification, because the wires may be passing him heading to a different, they may be passing him heading to
to a sub-county or a county?
No, not a sub-county or a what, because if it's a sub-county, they are supposed to share. But it may be high voltage to a different zone or a different part of the country. But he should benefit from the connections in the local area. And if the power is low, I want to assure him that the voltage will increase when we have Isimba soon coming on board, and also Karuma. Then I'm surprised that I get somebody to say thank you.
Why are you surprised? You think you're not doing a commendable job?
Ugandans, we hardly say thank you. We hardly say thank you. So Jane is just bringing in a culture which I'm just, and
our time is out. We are so grateful. We're so grateful, and I'm going to use Jenny's word. Thank you very much for having me on the show.
Thank you.
And that brings us to the end of tonight's edition of On the Spot. Join us again next week when we try to take this a notch higher. Good night, and God bless Uganda.
Why did you say that?